Hey, welcome back to another Recon. We're in Neokyo. It's the Sprinters Playground. 37.2 kilometers, 12 intermediate sprints on this one. This is going to hurt. Let's dive into the Recon. All right, so it is Neokyo and it is a sprinter's dream. Well, if you can repeat those sprints 12 times, then it's an absolute dream. Plenty of first across the line points to be picking up today, and here's the points you get for first across the line and also the fastest through segment. But bear in mind, we're doing 3 laps and those fastest through segment points are available for the whole race, not each lap. So there again, the points for the fastest through segment. So 4 sprint segments, there's very little recovery in between. I put all the distance markers for the sprint over on the Recon notes, and we'll have a closer look at those later on. But don't forget, if you want access to all the current Recon videos and the Recon notes, those are available via levelvelo.cc. There's a link down below in the description so you can find all of those. Also, don't forget to check out some of the clothing over on levelvelo.cc. If you're after some indoor cycling shorts or jerseys, then that's the place to take a look. But also, if you're looking for some kit to be made to match your in-game kit on the Zwift platform for your club or your team, drop myself or a member of the team at Level Velo a message and we can help you get that kit made in real life. Right, let's get on with the Recon and first of all, take a look at these power-ups. All right, so the power-ups for this particular route today, we're looking at the draft fan again, which is going to be very, very useful on a number of occasions, either for the sprint, because again, bear in mind, this is a 30-second power-up, or maybe immediately after the sprint if you're just trying to hang on to that group and those wheels as you try and recover. You've got the aero, absolutely the right power-up for a sprinter's course. So again, utilize it. If you do manage to pick up an aero on those sprints, use it, drive through the peloton, drive through the group and maximize those points, whether it be first across the line or FTS. And then of course we've got the invisibility ghost. That's also available. Again, super cool, super useful if you use correctly on this and you make yourself invisible just as at the right time as you're disappearing off the front of that group and trying to catch that peloton by surprise and take those points. So as I always say, the power-ups are very useful for the particular race we're talking about today. But just bear in mind, if you're utilizing this Recon video for another race, they may not be the power-ups that you get on your particular event. All right, so in terms of bike choice, it's all about aero. So just find the most aero setup you have got in the garage or you can get at your level. I've left a link down below for the Zwift Insider pages. And again, you can find the most aero setup at your level and all the information is there. All right, just 2 things before we look at these Recon notes and get in that start pen and look at this course. Peter, I was listening and I recognized the faux pas. We are back in the big ring there, my apologies. I believe in last week's video, I was in the small ring on this display bike. So thank you for highlighting that mistake. We are now rectified. Secondly, if you're enjoying this content and if you don't mind, give it a thumbs up and a subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And why not leave a comment, a question, an emoji, whatever you want down in that description. You can have some banter about chain rings or LED lights or Zwift or anything like that. But engagement helps the video and I really appreciate it. Right, let's take a look at these Recon notes. All right, let's take a look at these Recon notes, which are available, I'll say it one more time, through levelvelo.cc. But as you can see, we've got each lap planned out here with all the particular segments. And again, you'll see first across the line and the fastest through segment highlighted on all 4 of these segments per lap. But again, just remember the fastest through segment is for the whole race, but it can be picked up at any point throughout the race. So we're going to leave, then we're going to head very quickly towards the tower sprint, starting at kilometer 1.3, ending at the banner at 1.6, 320 meters. Then it's the Castle Park sprint, 3.1, 3.4 is the end again, 320 meters. Very little recovery in between these sprints. Then we've got the alley sprint, starts at 4.6, ends at 5.1. It's a little bit longer this one at 480 meters. Again, first across the line and the fastest through segments available. We then got this little kicker, this 300-meter rise as we get up onto the railway lines. This starts at 7.3. Just something to be aware of if you're looking for positioning in terms of this next sprint. Again, it's just something to be aware of. And again, if you're still trying to get yourself onto the back of the main group following the alley sprint, then again, it's just something to be conscious of. Then we get onto the final intermediate segment of the lap, and that's the railway sprint, the longest of the lot, starting at 7.9, ending at 8.4, 640 meters. So that one is all about timing, positioning, maybe teamwork as well. In fact, for this whole race, it's going to be all about teamwork and tactics. So again, you're either going to protect your sprinter and help them recover in between these sprints. Again, 12 sprints for the whole race is a big ask, or you've got to rotate that workload around the multiple riders in your team. So plenty to think about in terms of planning and strategy there to maximize these first across the line points. Let's get in the start pen. Let's take a look at these intermediate segments. All right, so we're going to leave the start pens, drift around to the right here, and you'll pass the virtual banner at kilometer 0.2, and we're going to head towards that first sprint of the day, which is the tower sprint. I'm going to play each of these intermediates through twice on this particular occasion. This first sprint, the tower sprint, is an interesting one. It's a tricky one, and again, it's just something to think about, because as you start the intermediate, the road just drops down to a -1, -2% decline. But again, the final 150 meters, the road kicks up again to a +1, +2% incline. So it's all about timing and keeping that pressure on, driving that bike all the way to the finish here. Because if you back off too early, again, you will slow down pretty quickly on this particular segment. Let's play this through one more time. All right, so after the tower sprint, we're then going to drift again 1,500 meters, 1.5 kilometers through Neokyo and head towards that Castle Park sprint. Another one that's 320 meters. This time it's pan flat. We're going to take the right-hand turn onto the bridge. And again, you'll see the sprint start marker on the left-hand side on the floor there. You do need to be ramping that speed up early if you're about the FTS. And again, come through the group, come through the peloton to maximize that draft and maximize that speed, driving it through the park all the way to the line again to maximize those points. All right, so after the Castle Park sprint, again, it's another short recovery at 1.2 kilometers as we head towards the alley sprint. This is a long one, this one at 480 meters. And again, it's a little bit tricky because you don't sight the finish line until that final 100 meters. But we're going to zigzag through the marketplace here, drift round to the right, and then as we cross this junction, you can start to see that green banner appear in the distance. Again, pan flat, but it's long, so this is about skill, using those power-ups, maybe utilizing lead out train from your teammates as well. Maybe we've already started to see a reduction in that front group here just from the attrition of repeating these sprints. Again, if you just want to focus on staying in that front group, you will need to be still pushing on through these sprints to maintain contact with that front group. 3 sprints down, 9 to go, but 1 more to do on this lap. And again, you're going to recover. Thankfully, you've got about 2 kilometers to recover here before you get to this little kicker that we see here. Just pitches up to 4% at maximum. This comes at 7.3. This basically just takes you up onto the railway, ready for the next segment or the next intermediate, which is the railway sprint. So the railway sprint is going to start at kilometer 7.9. This is long, 640 meters. Again, it's super flat. We'll let this play through a few times, but again, timing is everything on this sprint, whether you're going for first across the line or the fastest through segments. This is a long sprint, so time it right. You've got to keep that pressure on the pedals all the way to that line if you want to maximize those fastest through segment points. All right, thankfully, after the railway sprint, you've got 5 kilometers of recovery before you do it all again and head towards that tower sprint once again on the second lap. But again, on the way, we are going to pass this start-finish banner. So let's jump ahead and take a look at this finish line for those finish line points. All right, so we can take a look at this finish in a little bit more detail. I'm just going to jump to some different footage here from an event I did recently, but this is the finish which goes through the arcade. When you start to enter the arcade, you've got about 800 to 900 meters to go to that finish line. You will see some riders start to push on early through the arcade just to try and create some separation or try and jump away if it's a smaller group at this point, which I do expect on the majority of races. But again, we've seen riders get caught as they are in this footage as you get closer and closer to the finish. Once you come out of the arcade there, again, you've got 250 to 300 meters to go. And again, you'll know your sprint and whether you've got a good 1 minute, 30 second or 15 second to when you'll launch your sprint. But again, just watch those riders trying to create that separation. The finish banner is a little bit blind here just around this left-hand corner, so just watch that. Good luck, keep the power on. Let's hope you can maximize those finish line points. Again, I'll just let this finish roll through one more time so you can take a look in a little bit more detail. So that's it, that's the course, Sprinters Playground in Neokyo. It's going to be a very attritional race, I'm sure. I hope you've enjoyed the content. I hope you find these Recons useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, maybe leave a comment down below as well. In terms of Recon rides, there's plenty available. Just go and check out the Zwift companion app for those. You've got the Recon and Team Italy also do a lot of the Recon rides over the weekend. Have a great week and ride on.